6:45 in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, just like last year, COVID-19 is impacting observances for the Hindu community in relation to Phagwa, which comes up in a couple of weeks' time. And indeed, with that in mind, this year's Phagwa observance will be without some of these staple features. And to help fill the void, the National Council of Indian Culture is hosting its first Phagwa conference virtually this weekend, tomorrow and Sunday. Panel discussions, roundtable chats, and much more are in store with participants globally ahead of the Spring Festival, as it's known. And to give us some context to it, we're joined by Deoroop Teemal, First Vice President of the NCIC, the National Council of Indian Culture. Mr. Teemal, good of you to join us this morning.
Yes, so Fazir, pleasant good morning and a namaskar to our viewing audience.
And while we're looking ahead to the conference and indeed to Phagwa itself in Trinidad and Tobago, I know the occasion of Mahashivat Srivaratri has been taking place. Just for those who are not familiar with it, what is the significance of that observance that would have been taking place yesterday?
Right, well, Mahashivatri is a major event on the Hindu calendar and has grown in popularity here in Trinidad over the many years. It's a night of devotion to Lord Shiva. Actually, there's Shivaratri every month of the year, but this one is referred to as the Mahashivatri, an annual occurrence. And Hindus and others take the opportunity to fast, to pray, and to do full devotion to Lord Shiva throughout the night. Actually it starts from 6 in the evening to 6 in the morning. So I think a lot of devotees would have now finished their devotion.
They might be suffering from a lack of sleep because of their devotions overnight. But as we talk now about the conference that's happening tomorrow and on Sunday with some 13 panels, 65 plus presentations, and it's going to run from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. Tell us a bit about the context. What are you hoping will come out of this conference?
Well, for sure, you know that Phagwa or Holi, as it is often called outside of Trinidad and Tobago, came to this country, well, with our Indian forefathers. So it's around almost 175 years now. And as you mentioned, it's basically a spring festival heralding the entry of the spring. But in Trinidad, with our just dry and wet seasons, it comes around a time what we refer to as the crop season, when sugarcane plantations were alive and well. It also has some religious significance for Hindus in terms of, there are several incidents centered around the festival, the main one being the defeat of the evil king Hiranyakashipu by the devotee Prahalad. But within that context, the conference is actually a forerunner to the Phagwa celebrations this year, which is being tempered by, of course, by COVID-19. And it's a virtual conference. Actually, while some may think that the COVID-19 is all negative, it has offered us the opportunities to develop and have conferences through a virtual medium. And it is through this virtual medium, actually, that this conference is a truly international one. It is the first time that we'll be having an international conference on the Festival of Phagwa. And as you mentioned, it's catered for this coming weekend here, on Saturday, 13th of March and Sunday, 14th of March. And we start off quite early in the morning at 8 a.m. And based on the amount of papers we have, it would go down to about 5 p.m. on both days. Actually, for Fazil, what happened is that we thought that we would just have a one-day conference. But when the call for papers went out, the response was so overwhelming that we actually had to schedule the conference over 2 days.
Well, that sounds like there's going to be tremendous interest in the dialogue and the panelists' contributions from throughout the world. Of course, I'm sure representation from India and other parts of the Indian diaspora will be involved. But if anyone wants to follow the discussion, whether from the Hindu community or the wider Trinidad and Tobago community, and they want to follow the discussions online, what do they have to do?
Well, actually, everyone can actually get onto the conference through our Zoom platform. It's phagwa.ncictt.com. So you just enter that into your web browser, and you will be taken directly into the conference where the host will allow you in.
And as far as the event itself, because as you said, initially intended to be 1 day, but because of the level of interest, it's going over 2 days. What are some of the topics that will be discussed as far as the entire issue of Phagwa or Holi, as you correctly described it, where it's known in other parts of the world?
Right. Well, firstly, actually, we have structured the panels for the conference. As you said, we have 10 panels, 3 roundtables, and a film session. The reason that we have included the technique of roundtables in this particular conference is that Phagwa as a festival is rooted in community, and we did not want the conference to be totally academic and to have only academic researchers presenting their findings and their papers. So we included the roundtables where practitioners, cultural activists, and particularly those who celebrate in the community opportunity to contribute to the conference. So it's a new in this regard in that the conference will be encompassing both academic scholars as well as practitioners and community activists. So we'll have papers on the historical perspectives, developing trends, Phagwa in literature, film, art, and media, and other fora, Phagwa within the community, the songs of Phagwa, the cultural aspects of it, and of course, identification of future trends and future possibilities for Phagwa, not only culturally, but also in terms of cultural tourism for Trinidad and Tobago and the other countries participating. Incidentally, we have 13 countries participating, including Mauritius, Fiji, Suriname, South Africa, Australia, Grenada, and Jamaica.
And of course, India, as well as we mentioned earlier. And in the few minutes that we have left, Mr. Teemal, and many of us in Trinidad and Tobago, even those who are not Hindu devotees or participate in the event itself, are familiar with Phagwa for the abir, the colored water, the spraying of the colored water, and the spirit of celebration. What is your own sense about the trend in the observance of Phagwa in Trinidad and Tobago? Because I know there are some within the Hindu community who have expressed some reservations about it becoming too much of a carnival type celebration in some ways and losing the sense of spirituality that is also part of the experience. What is your view on that as we conclude this morning?
Well, actually, first, I would say probably decades, even as much as 2 decades ago, there was a heavy influence of the carnival type activities within the Phagwa, particularly the consumption of alcohol and over the years, I think that has changed significantly in that what has happened is that most of the organizers have been rather specific about the use of alcohol within the festival. And what we see now is more a celebration of spontaneous joy in the spraying of the abir. A lot of colored powder has entered the festival where people smear each other with the powder. And also within the music, the songs itself, we see a return to a lot of the traditional folk songs that go along with Phagwa, such as the Chautal and the Ulara, and there has been the introduction of the Pichikari art form. And I think anyone attending these festivals cannot help get caught up in just the human spontaneity and the joy that is being expressed. And it is really an uplifting experience. So together with the spraying and the powder and the camaraderie and the sense of community and the sense of pride within those in the community, the festival has, it has evolved and it is still evolving. And I think one of the key challenges that face us is to really get the young people more involved in the festival, although there's a large percentage of young people, but to keep it vibrant within the young community and also to broaden the participation of the national committee here in Trinidad and Tobago.
And before we conclude, Mr. Teemal, we really appreciate you taking the time to give us this information. And let's give you the online contact once again. It's phagwa.ncictt.com, phagwa.ncictt.com. When is Phagwa actually going to be observed? What is the actual date for the Phagwa observances in Trinidad and Tobago this year?
Yeah, first year it's 28th of March.
That's
the official date for this year.
28th of March. Thank you very much indeed for taking the time to give us that information. Deoroop Teemal, first Vice President of the NCIC, the National Council of Indian Culture. As we come towards the top of the hour, as we go to the break, here we have a couple of images for you. Lilies submitted by a viewer by the name of Errol, who brought the plant back home following a trip to Kashmir in India some 35 years ago. So that's an interesting one. So it has not only survived, but it's thrived from its home in Kashmir to a place in Trinidad and Tobago. As we go to the top of the hour.